Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Wake Up with Bunny. I've got my coffee, I've got my water. I have a Wisconsin theme going. This is actually not part of the plan. It just happened. We've got a lot of great chat going on already. This is what's fun about tuning in live is you get to chat it up in the comments. I get to see my friends in the morning and go through social media. Good morning. I am so glad you guys are here. I'm seeing some faces that I don't get to see all the time live on this show, so I'm pumped about that. You have no idea how happy that makes me. And I'm ready to jump in. So this is my thought this morning. So what I wanted to do was go through my likes. Now, caveat, I like all my own stuff, because if you don't like your own posts, then why is anyone else supposed to take any interest whatsoever? This is my rationale. But I used to get a lot of teasing for liking my own posts, but then everyone started doing it and it just seemed normal. But I think I pick out the fucking best of the best, and it's hump day. So I'm in the mood to kind of go through my feed, go through what the stuff that I am digging, and talk about it and see if you are in agreement about this. All right. Does she go out of her way to make your life better? Or does she seem to do all she can to make your life worse? There are girls who seem so hell-bent on making their man miserable. It always makes me wonder how they even attracted him in the first place. I hate to say this online. My ex-mother-in-law was like this. I always went, in my brain, I always thought, how in the world did this like super like chill, happy-go-lucky, hardworking, neat. He was like Mr. Prom King, Mr. Homecoming King. He's like Mr. Charisma. End up with this woman who I loved, but she's just mean. She was just a mean person, especially to him. I mean, there are women out there who seem to just want, like, it's their favorite hobby to make their husband, boyfriend, significant other just absolutely miserable, and I do not understand that. All right. If you hadn't caught this already, if there are mornings that you miss the live Wake Up with Bunny show, I am posting them in full on Twitter, on X, whatever the fuck it's called, the very next day at 5 a.m. Central. So if you miss it the first time around, you can always click that link and watch it on YouTube, but you can also see it come across your news feed here. Wake up, have sex, lift heavy things, accomplish something. These are not going to all be my tweets. I just am catching up with the latest and the greatest. Magic Bullet Online Dating Profile Handbook. This was the very first book that I published as my Playboys Bunny, and it has been a bestseller since day one. I have revised it. It had like when I originally wrote it in 2018, there were some different dating apps and things of that nature that aren't really around or popular now. So I have revised it over the years, and I republished it in 2022, taking a little bit more evergreen approach. So not specifically lifting up a bunch of websites that may be inconsequential by the time you read it. So I made some updates. I'm also working on a social media specific online dating kind of thing, because I feel like a lot of people utilize various social media platforms as dating apps. So, which I think is a genius idea. And so it's all about, this book that I'm working on is all about curating that so that you are set up for success, because you can't start a social media account and immediately start jumping into girls' DMs. It just doesn't work that way. So I'm here to set you up for success in that way. So keep a watch on that. Okay. I had asked, and I've gotten some interesting responses. I had asked what your favorite foreplay move is. Now, there are some people who I think actually read that as movie, which I respect. That's okay. But I genuinely meant, what's your favorite, form of foreplay? What's your favorite, and I got some pretty specific responses that we all can understand. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. Oh, Bill Cosby. That's awesome. Just drug him. Telling her that her eyes are crossed until I kiss them straight. That's pretty good. Chokehold. Hot. Start from the top and work down. Very hot. Foreplay. What's that? I agree completely. Finger in the ass while getting blown. There we go. That's just putting it out there right there. It's been a good series of questions. I just asked it last night. So if you haven't chimed in yet, feel free. Feel free. So much good stuff. Needing, this is good. You guys know that I love Adam Lane Smith's stuff. He puts out some really great, true, like relationship, long-term relationship advice. So I really respect him as a professional. Needing to be right all the time will keep you friendless and stupid. Nobody wants to be friends with someone. No one wants to be in a dating relationship with someone who just can't stand not to have the last word and not to always be right. So just keep that in mind. If you like being around other people, you might want to let someone else win every once in a while. It's okay. People still know that you're smart without having to be the expert in the room at everything all the time. No one enjoys being around those people. Oh, this is so good. Y'all, if you weren't around for Larry Bird, I mean, he's a white guy. He's like the ultimate white athlete because he couldn't look less athletic, and yet he just killed it. And he even had to play on that hideous stadium on that hideous floor. Foreplay. What's that? Exactly. This is really good. This is really good. I don't think that this is even in any of his basic training books yet, which is 100 tips between 1 and 2. So if you haven't checked that out, there is a link in the description box to Fort Worth's basic training books. But when you get a new girl's number, add anything. Literally put her picture, her best picture, her most real looking picture, where you met her, maybe a nickname if you've given her one, who she's friends with. Make little notes to yourself, because you're going to find that there are like 5 Ashleys, 3 Jennifers, 6 Morgans. Like, you've got to be like Morgan, Tinder, NYC, or Jennifer, Bailey's birthday party, like whatever the case may be, and make sure that you add some sort of picture that triggers in your head who this girl is. So that way you can pick her out. You know immediately who is contacting you. If she's reaching out, if you're reaching out to her, make sure you're not reaching out to Ashley, who's a complete dud, who you never wanted to talk to again, but you didn't risk taking her name out of your phone in case she reached out to you. You need all of the information. You need this. Exactly. Perfectly put. I'm going to put this up. Hold that thought. Treat it like customer relationship management. Perfect. That's the perfect way to put it. You've got to do little things that trigger in your mind who these people are. As a guy, you're the CEO and the product. That's pretty hot. That's like tweet worthy. That's pretty good. Oh, I love it. I love it. So this is a really good tip. Make sure if you don't do this already that you start right now. Oh, I love this one. I'm so glad I sold my bicycle, my motorcycle, said no one ever. And then, there's me on my bike because I love it. I love to ride my dirt bike. And it's street legal, but honestly, I'm scared to drive on the street. So I don't. I drive in the dirt. I love it. We talked about this one yesterday morning. There's just such a vast difference in the enthusiasm and the life behind the young versus the old. And even younger women, they're generally can seem very old if they have been run through. If this is why game does not work on damaged girls, because the life comes out of their eyes and they're just out of it. Bad first date ideas: nude beach, funeral, family reunion, any sports she doesn't do, hiking, coffee, parole check-in, proctology appointment. Oh my gosh. Okay. Chime in on this one, guys. You guys are in the chat box. Let's do this. The sexiest places on earth. So this is pretty much an ever-evolving list that he and I have created that we keep adding to. Okay, so comment in the chat box or in the description box below. We think hotel bars, bar none, is just a sexy place to be. High-end hotel rooms. You have to get into it, but there's nothing not sexy about the lighting's always perfect. The linens, the setup in high-end hotels, you can tell that you're in a high-end hotel. So there's just nothing sexier than that. Range Rovers, any kind of luxury vehicle that even the starting package is already more than most people's house, payments, then that is a win. And you can feel that luxury when you're in them. Balconies. This is true even for low-end apartments. Balconies are just sexy places. You don't see a balcony railing and not want to bend someone over it and rail them. Formal dining rooms. Excellent place. And so rarely seen anymore. I would say formal dining rooms that are actually used as formal dining rooms, so that they're actually treated in that manner and given that kind of respect. High-end, limousines, which I was talking just the other day. We saw a limousine out and about when we were driving the other day, and I realized how infrequently we see limos anymore. Now that the black car service and higher end party buses, and it seems like groups take higher end bus services and things like that now rather than limos. So I think that's really interesting, because when I was younger, if you saw a limo anywhere, you were enamored. Everything stopped. It was almost like a funeral procession where everything stopped and all you did was stare, and you tried to see who was in the limo, even though you could never see because, everything's blacked out. But you hardly see limos any longer. High-end lingerie boutiques, absolutely. Those people are having to run people out of those dressing rooms all of the time. Empty beaches, yes, because crowded beaches are the least sexy place on earth, but empty beaches are very hot. Your teenage bedroom. Man, as an adult, if you return to your childhood home and, and fuck a girl on the bed that you used to have wet dreams on. Hot, hot, hot. Empty pools at night. Very hot. Add your own. Let's see. Any place can be sexy. Yes. Hell, take her to the woods and rail her in broad daylight or moonlight. Our ancestors surely enjoyed it all. Yes, 1000%. And I would add to that list anything like that where it's outdoors. I think that is just adds to the excitement and the sexual appeal, because there's always that risk of being caught. There's the exhibitionism. The air around your body feels freaking amazing. Everything about that is hot, hot, hot. I agree completely. So that's a fun list. Add to it as you see little things that you would add or that you enjoy. What else? Okay. If you didn't see this post, what she says she wants versus what she really wants. So what she says she wants is the romance, the picnic, the whining and dining. But what really turns her on is to be objectified, to be, yes, stepping on her face is about as extreme as you can get, but it's a hot representation of just how depraved, turned on girls can get whenever you've got them locked in sexually. So if you can lock her in on you, you are going to be able to do all kinds of things and kind of challenge what she says she likes quite a bit. So just keep this in mind. Girls actually like rough sex. Girls actually like to be manhandled. Girls actually like to be tossed around. Girls actually enjoy being objectified and used as sexual objects. So just remember that, and don't be so gentle. Gentle lovers have never excited a woman. They're lovely, but they don't excite. So keep that in mind. Got some sales pages. That's all good. She wants you to lead her. If she fights you on this, she does not think you're capable of leading her. This is something that too many men let fall by the wayside, or just let kind of slip through the cracks of their mind. If she's challenging you, if she's doubting you, if she never lets you make a decision all on your own without first creating resistance, she absolutely does not trust your judgment. She doesn't trust you. She doesn't trust that you will make the right decision. So if she's challenging you, she doesn't think you're capable of leading her. If she doesn't think you're capable of leading her, you're just a place setting. You're not going to be around forever. All right, hold that thought. I want to see what ZZZ said. Married 28 years, almost impossible to get her to talk about sex. Absolutely. And this is an important point. Girls will not talk about sex. A lot of times, even inside the bedroom, even while aroused, they just have trouble talking about it. But that's how you have to really just know what works, number one, what generally, universally, what women want. Hey, somebody has a book about that. What triggers female orgasm? Hey, somebody seems to have a book about that. But know that you're not going to be able to ask her what she wants. You're not going to be able to have a discussion with her like you would the guys. You're not going to be able to ask a question and get a real response about what turns her on, especially if you're no longer in the bedroom. Sometimes you can get something like that. You can get that kind of information out of her when you are in the throes of the passion. She'll say little things that maybe aren't like what she usually would say. And it's kind of like being drunk and being sober. Like when you're in the throes of passion, when you're aroused, when you're sexually turned on, you say things that are more accurate and relatable in that realm than you would when you're sober or out of that realm. So cue in on the things that she says when she is sexually aroused, when she is actually in there with you, and remember that, but don't try to talk to her about it, because it will not work. It will backfire. And then she'll start to regret the things that she says. And then the next times that you're having sex, she will be more carefully monitoring and holding back what she says. Because if you challenge her on it, if you want to talk to her about it, if you claim to want to play up on it, keep it in her mind. If she says, oh, that would be so hot if I could watch you fuck another woman while I'm sitting on her face, don't have a conversation with her about it. Just start moving the attraction in that direction. You don't talk to her about it. You just make things happen. Okay? With that in mind, I just want to point out something. Did you guys know that I have a newsletter specific to sexy sex stuff? Did you guys know that? I call it adult education. And if you are not already on that list, my thinking with this newsletter is it's also free. I've actually got the price to set to a year because I have to put a price tag on it through Gumroad. But so if you wonder, it's a price per year, and you can put 0 or you can put an amount if you like my stuff and you just appreciate it. But let me tell you about this adult education newsletter, and then I'm going to get back to the feed. What I like here is I was finding that the more explicit emails through the Bunny Report were sometimes not being opened. And I thought, you know what? That's because if this guy's like married for 28 years and shares an email with his wife or whatever, or they're pretty transparent with their contact information, he may not want to see sexy sex, like super explicit stuff coming across his email. Maybe it's a work email, all kinds of things like this. So I tamped that back for the general Bunny Report newsletter. And I created adult education in case anybody wants the sexy sex stuff, but you'll understand, you'll actually like choose to be on this list rather than it just being sent to you. So that is that. In case you guys did not know that that existed, I wanted you to be aware. Back to X. All right. Let's see here. That's just sexy. Oh, okay. Let's talk about this. So I had put up a survey about your girl being completely straight, you know, like straight, being bi-aroused. I would say bi-curious. I initially had bi-curious, but really it's more about her arousal. If she's bi-curious, oftentimes it's, does she get turned on? Can she look at bisexual things? Can she look at other women and get aroused? That's a good sign, even if she hasn't been with another woman or claims not to necessarily want to be with another woman. Is she bisexual, or is she completely asexual? Is she completely turned off? And likelihood is, you know, the number is pretty low here because, quite honestly, this is number one, self-reporting. But number two, in our neck of the woods, if you're with a completely asexual woman, you're probably not hanging out in this very sexually charged environment, because that would just be frustrating. So I find it fascinating, the answers I've gotten so far. If you have not responded to this survey yet, your responses on these Twitter surveys is completely anonymous. So I would love to know what your girlfriend, wife, number one fuck buddy, girlfriend candidate, rotation girl is in this realm. But this response was, all girls are bi aroused or bi curious. And I completely agree. I think that unless she is completely asexual, and then she doesn't really even get into sex in a heterosexual environment, or, I mean, it's just not, being turned on is not on her radar. Again, you're probably not in this neighborhood if that's something that you deal with. But I completely agree that all girls to some extent are bi, because women are beautiful. Women have beautiful bodies. They're curvy, they're feminine. There's just something so sexually arousing about looking at the female form. And even though we love looking at our man naked, we love looking at our, the sexy body that's in front of us, it's not necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing thing on the planet. You guys were not designed quite as aesthetically pleasing as the female body were. So keep that in mind. Again, if you haven't responded to that to that survey, I would love it if you would. This just cracked me up. This has nothing to do with attraction, arousal, relationships. It's just a time lapse of way too many cats following light. Zach's strength, his pictures always make me hungry. I could be completely full and just having eaten, and I immediately want the steak or the eggs or the salmon or whatever he's eating at the time. It just looks amazing. I feel like whoever does his cooking is just cooking all the time. And most of the time I think it's him. I'm like, how do you have time to do this? It looks so good. Man, make classic femininity and beauty great again, right? That'd be great. Build your dating system. This truly is the plan for taking girls from stranger to in your bed. It's so good. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to talk about this other tweet that I put up last night, and it's going to be the last thing that we talk about this morning. So buckle in. If your girl, and I'm just going to paraphrase since I wrote it. If your girl is after your money, or if you think that she might be, do a test. Do a little experiment. Test this theory out. If you think that you are with a gold digger, or she's just using you as a placeholder because for your money, for what the experiences it gets her, for the adventure it gets her, for the nightlife it gets her, for the gifts it gets her, if you think that she's just with you for your money, next time she is wanting to do something extravagant, say, maybe later, maybe in a few months. Right now, I've decided I need to really tighten my belt. I need to tamp down the spending a little bit. You can give it a reason, or you can give no explanation whatsoever, except I'm tightening my belt. I'm gonna I met with my financial advisor, and I really need to budget my money a little bit better. Something along those lines. Just indicating that maybe for a finite amount of time, but don't give a specific timeline. But for an amount of time, I'm going to tamp down the spending a little bit. So we're going to be doing more spending time at the house, doing cheaper stuff, not going out to the theater as much, not going out to fancy restaurants as much, not going to the luxury bars, not going not doing any traveling in the next few months, because I'm tightening my belt financially. For whatever reason that you give. Girls who are after your money will not be around long. They just won't. The idea of you having to buckle your money down a little bit even if you're completely well off, even if you have plenty of money, but the fact that you're not actively going to be spending it on her for weeks or months or for some unknown amount of time will absolutely run her off. So it is a great gauge, because she will exit that relationship. Well, she will find another man who wants to spend money on her. She won't be able to stand it. A girl who's not after your money will immediately stop spending frivolously at all. She'll stop requesting frivolous spending at all. She will be a good girl. She will respect that you've said that you need to tighten your belt. And quite honestly, then in a few months, then in a few weeks, you just kind of go back to your spending habits and she follows suit. But then you know that she is not just with you because you give her gifts or take her nice places or do extravagant things with her. She's there because she likes you and she wants to allow you to lead and serve in whatever way you're used to her serving you. So either way, you then have your answer and you get to live your life as you want to. So I'm not even suggesting with the girls who are respectful of your money that it has to be a long-term experiment, because it absolutely doesn't. Because it points out to itself very quickly and separates the good from the money hungry. So I just want to encourage you, if you are dealing with that kind of situation or fear that you may be, this is a great answer to your problem. Now, I want you to go have sex, lift heavy things, accomplish something, be productive, accomplish something that you can be proud of. I'm going to go to the gym and I want you to win the day. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Thank you for everyone who chimed in the chat box. Thank you for everyone who then follows up on YouTube with comments. Thank you for everyone who is tuning into this directly from the Twitter X platform. I think you're all rock stars and I appreciate it. YYY, thank you so much. I appreciate you jumping in this morning. I'm so glad that you made it live. That's always a good time. Bye.